Hello and welcome back into the WNK page. I am George Herbig, Chief Forecaster here for WNK, and we do have new tornado warnings that have been issued throughout the state. So let's go and take a look at those things here for you real quickly. The radar here indicates 2 tornado warnings active for just east of Lexington to include Frenchburg, Jeffersonville, Mount Sterling, and Winchester. Let's take a look and see the rotations out there. If I can get my radar to actually work, that would be great. Not seeing anything super impressive. However, there is a notch right here just to the north of Winchester. So let's go over here and read the bulletin for you guys. Tornado warning has been issued at 9:35 a.m. Eastern Time. A severe squall line capable of producing both tornadoes and extensive straight line wind damage was located along a line extending from near Sideview to near Winchester, moving east at 55 miles per hour. A source's radar indicated rotation of course. Impact as flying debris will be dangerous to those caught without shelter. Mobile homes will be damaged or destroyed. This dangerous storm will be near Winchester in about 3 minutes. Other locations impacted include Goff's Corner, Constant Station, Rennick, Lindell, Bunker Hill, Julian Estates, Locust Grove, Hunt, Flanagan, and Colby. For that warning there, let's read the other bulletin board here. For Montgomery County, southwestern Bath County, Menifee County, and east central Kentucky. Other locations impacted include, okay, they didn't put it out there. They didn't put it there. Just says Mount Sterling, Jeffersonville, Cedar Groves, and Frenchburg for that tornado warning as well right there. So checking back in on the reflectivity here for the winds. Definitely seeing a notch right here between the two boxes. So they may just cancel this box and go with that box here in a second. Let's go ahead and take a look at that. And come back over here and put our tracker out. That's the wrong one, of course. And here is the tracker. So let's go ahead and pull our full display back up. I'm not going to mess with the borders today. Pilot View in 2 minutes, Hedges in 2 minutes, Goldsville in 2 minutes, Kidville in 5 minutes, Levy in 8 minutes, Camargo in 11 minutes, Jeffersonville, Kentucky in 14 minutes, Lucky Stop 16 minutes, and Means in 18 minutes for the 2 tornado warnings that are active out in central eastern Kentucky. Yeah, noon and 4 p.m. look to be a strong time frame, Maggie. Like I said on the last video, and like what I'll remain to say, it's pretty much an all-day thing at this point. So there's your 2 tornado warnings out there for eastern Kentucky, and outside of that, straight line wind damages are possible as well. Let me go and take the box off here. We're not really seeing a whole lot of action back out here for central Kentucky just yet. Some storms are spawning out here toward Bowling Green and Glasgow. And then looking back over here more toward western Kentucky, it looks like some spawning is beginning to start out there for far western Kentucky. However, the main action at this moment is this squall line out here for eastern Kentucky. That looks to be quite significant there for those folks out there for Winchester to Mount Sterling to Jeffersonville, Kentucky. And then beyond that for Frenchburg. That's the current locations that we're seeing at this time for the 2 tornado warnings. As always, I failed to mention this, of course, but as always, if you mind, please tap the share button at the bottom portion of your screen over there on Facebook. Share this on your news feed so that your friends and family can view it as well. Get informed and up to date on the latest information here at WNK throughout the entire day of this event. Whoever said something about the Bourbon County tornado sirens, that's because there is a tornado warning there. A new tornado warning has just been issued for Moorhead, Kentucky, and Owingsville as well. So now we have 3 simultaneous tornado warnings once again for Bath County, southeastern Fleming, and Rowan County in east central Kentucky until 10:15 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time. This dangerous storm will be near Odessa at 9:45. Moorhead around 9:50, Munson around 9:55, and Ham around 10 a.m. Eastern Time. Other locations in the path of this tornadic thunderstorm include Farley, Kentucky as well. So pretty much this entire squall line is now indicated or now under a tornado warning. I believe we're now approaching 20 tornado warnings throughout Kentucky so far this morning, and it's only 9:45 a.m. So here we are right here, basically from Winchester all the way up to Moorhead and everywhere in between under a tornado warning at this time for 3 separate cells that might be pushing in. We do see that. So we have notches here. We have a notch here. We have a notch here. And we have this bulging wind out here with a little notch on the backside as well. So we have rotation all over this line. This is a classic squall line that can produce, a few tornadoes within, 20 to 30 mile radius. So this is a classic squall line look at this. So make sure you take this with the absolute most seriousness. Again, that's for Eastern Kentucky. Not really a whole lot going on for everywhere else in Kentucky at this moment. Maybe refresh my YouTube. I want to make sure that's working over there. Okay, good. Okay. Just want to make sure all that was working over there. So for a lot of new faces in here, if you're just not tuning in, there are 3 separate tornado warnings for Eastern Kentucky, basically from Winchester to Jeffersonville to Salt Lick to Owensville and all the way out to Moorhead and Frenchburg. That entire radius is under a tornado warning for a squall line that is pushing through that area at this time. You can see it pretty much noted here. We have a really good signature right there of rotation, a really good signature right there of rotation, a really good signature right here of rotation, and a pretty good signature right here of rotation as well. So we have 4 different pockets here where any of those 4, if not all 4, are perhaps producing tornadic activity. So a really strong line. Oh, and by the way, up here to the north, just east of Flemingsburg, it's not rotating, but those are 65-mile-per-hour winds that are pushing through, so expect damages there as well. So a really strong squall line pushing through central eastern Kentucky out there for those folks just east of Lexington. I think that everyone that's asking about specific locations, I just want to make it very clear, very, very clear. Everyone in Kentucky is at a risk of all hazards of severe weather today, including tornadic activity. And perhaps later on today, we're talking about perhaps a violent tornado or 2. So I just want to make it very clear if you're asking about what's happening in my exact zip code. There might be a brief break right now, but storms can spawn at any time. We have an absolutely whipping 500 millibar jet over our head right now. 850 millibar jet is looking really rampant as well. Cape values are starting to come up now that the sun's starting to come out a little bit. I mean, everyone is genuinely at play for severe weather. And right now you can kind of see that the main focus is in eastern Kentucky, but once again, here in probably about an hour or 2, it'll start out here in western Kentucky once again and push through central Kentucky for round 2, and then perhaps a round 3 later on this afternoon and going into the dinner time frame. So multiple rounds of severe weather today, so no one is all clear. You might have a gap in between rounds. How long of a gap you have is undetermined. I want to make that very clear. A lot of people are asking about how long do we have. It's undetermined because we don't know when storms are going to spawn, because given the amount of conditions that we have available and the environment that we have that's extremely unstable, storms can spawn at any time. So I want to make that very, very clear for those of you that are asking about how long we have in between rounds or how long to expect it in my area. Just know the severe threat goes all the way through until dinner time, and that storms can spawn at any time within that time frame, given how unstable our environment is. So just keep that in mind when talking about like how long you might have or whatever the case may be. It's all day until around dinner time. Yes, Jordan. Throughout the afternoon, you'll see an uptick in activity out there, just like the rest of the state. Cal says, yeah, if that dry slot sees any sun, we're in trouble. Yeah, so that's what we're looking at. While we're in our brief break, that's what we were looking at, is the cloud coverage that we're seeing right now. Or I was trying to look at anyway before things started going crazy again. So what we're looking at here, I'm going to pull this out of the regional view. We have cloud breaks that are currently occurring in northern central Kentucky. I can tell you that the sun was shining here just after that storm damage that we took. We have cloud breaks in between there, and we also have extremely clear skies back out here where the actual dry line is. So that's why the confidence is still there in a pretty significant day. Also, if we look at this, even though that storm pushed through here, right? And I'm in Hardin County, okay? Even though that storm pushed through here an hour ago, dew points are still at 61.8 degrees, and they're actually climbing again. So the environment is still unstable. Is basically what I'm getting at here. Cape values are starting to climb up a little bit as well. If we look at bulk shear here, it's still absolutely insane at 70 and 65 for most places. If we go over here and we look at the upper charts here at 850 millibar, I'm gonna look at the other one. There we go. We can see that those winds are really going crazy as well. 45. The higher jet is currently right now in eastern Kentucky, which is why you're seeing the higher threat right now in eastern Kentucky where those tornadoes are. And then eventually it will start to slide up once again in western Kentucky. And once that gets over 40, so you see this number at 35 right here, right? Once that gets over 40, bam. Okay? That's how quick it's going to be. That's why we're not giving anyone any real time frames, because it's all about when that gets up to 40 again, bam, they're going to start. See how this one's at 45 over here? That's that upper jet really starting to get going. And then we look up here at the 500 millibar, and we can see that the maximum speeds are over here situated around that dry line in Missouri, Illinois, and back over toward the Oklahoma areas out there for those folks. And what that's going to do is spawn storms just to the right of it. So what is going to happen this afternoon, for those of you that are curious, this maximum speeds over this light blue is on this chart, that's going to move slowly east, okay? When that does, eventually it'll turn north. And when it turns north, bam, it's going to lift the storms up, and then it's going to go to the 850 millibar, and storms are going to absolutely spawn, okay? So that's what we're waiting on, is basically that jet to get over to the east, and then storms are going to go, they're going to start going up. So that's basically where we're at with those things right now. Some sunshine peeking through is absolutely what we do not want to see. That's going to help speed up the destabilization of the atmosphere and create another strong storm threat throughout the rest of the day. So that's kind of where we're at right now. Thank you, by the way, for all those people on Facebook that are sharing the stream. I appreciate you guys helping me out with our goals. Thank you so much for that. Let's go take a look back at this line here. Out for eastern Kentucky, the wind speeds look a little bit weaker. However, there's still several notches of rotation within this squall line out here for eastern Kentucky that we're seeing. This side's kind of calmed down a little bit, so we're going to roll it out for now. We still have a little bit of a bulge right here, but nothing too crazy. That's kind of calmed down as well. So what we're looking at mainly at this time is this cell up here for the Owingsville area. So for this cell up here, to zoom in a little bit more, Owingsville, Salt Lake, Moorhead, Frenchburg, Jeffersonville, those are the areas that are under the gun at this time in eastern Kentucky, or central eastern Kentucky, whatever you want to say. Those are the areas that are under the gun there, and they all look like pretty substantial threats. Again, as we look at the rotation charts here, you can see several notches within that. There could be multiple tornadoes on the ground right now in central eastern Kentucky. Jennifer, all the way through sunset. Or all the way through dinner time, I should say. Yeah, I don't really cover Atlanta, Kyle. We pretty much cover Kentucky here, but yeah, down to the south there too. I mean, guys, the tornado threat is quite large today for a lot of folks. The tornado threat is quite large today. I clicked on the wrong thing. So let's go ahead and take a look real quickly at that SPC outlook that we looked at earlier. This is the tornado threat for Kentucky and Tennessee and the northern Georgia and Alabama areas as well. You can just tell it goes all the way out. It goes all the way out. It is such a long zone. It truly is. By the way, if you haven't already, follow our Twitter at WeatherNowKY over there. I want to thank you, everybody. We've had 300 new followers in the last 30 minutes over there, so thank you so much for supporting that. More additionally, it serves as a great backup if we lose power here locally at my house, because Cherie's taking care of the Twitter over there at WeatherNowKY. Thank you to her for helping out with us today. I appreciate her and everyone else on our team. I'm going to take a look at this NAM3K model as it comes in. Now, models are pretty useless at the moment, just because we're kind of in just a nowcast event. My internet's really tinking down at the moment. I really need to restart it. But again, if you're just not tuning in here, 2 tornado warnings, well, 3 technically, but 2 actual ones. are active, basically from Jeffersonville, Frenchburg to Salt Lake to Moorhead, all in central eastern Kentucky, and they all look like they are still rotating as well. Again, we do still see several notches in here where the storms are kind of trying to bow out a little bit within that squall line, and that's indicating perhaps a lot of rotation occurring within that. So there really could be realistically several tornadoes on the ground for central eastern Kentucky at this very moment. So make sure that if you're in any of the red boxes, please be in your safe spots at this time. There could be multiple tornadoes on the ground according to the radar that we're seeing here. Thank you to everyone again for all the shares, the likes, and the new follows. I appreciate you guys supporting us. Thank you so much for your trust, really. Especially on a day like today. Thank you so much for your trust. We appreciate that trust that you have in us, and we're going to sit here and be with you guys. So let's go take a look back at here. Now this should be loaded. I'm just going to take a quick glance at this. Okay, so the NAM doesn't see a whole lot. Now, I will tell you the NAM has been pretty much wrong so far. The NAM has been pretty much wrong so far. If I click on the sound and it shows something crazy, don't pay attention to it. Okay. Southwesterly winds at the surface, turning more southwest northeast as they go up. We have a holograph that's curved. Cape values are sufficient. Helicity sufficient. Sears sufficient. Bulk Richardson shear number is sufficient. Lapse rates up. Yeah, so we still have a substantial threat throughout the afternoon and evening, even on the new model data. So we're still looking at a pretty long day here in Kentucky, and for most folks throughout the central and eastern United States, truly. Okay, no other action going on throughout the state right now. We're still just kind of watching this squall line out here for eastern Kentucky. Let's go ahead and take a look back again at the wind velocities here. Okay, we're starting to see a bit of a peak here. So this is, for me, so we see rotation here. We see rotation here. We see rotation here. We see rotation here, right? But for me, the most dangerous spot is right here. So let's go take a look at that and do it on our right there. Let's put our tracker up here so you can guys kind of see how this one's tracking. So Salt Lake in about 2 minutes, Farmers in about 7 minutes, Bluestone in about 9 minutes, Lakeview Heights 9 minutes, and so on and so forth on that cell there. There was also another cell that looked pretty significant out here. Let's go take a tracker on that one real quickly as well. Sharkey in about 2 minutes, Moorhead in about 9 minutes, Christie in about 11 minutes, Hayes Crossing in about 15 minutes, Bryan Gear in about 18 minutes, and then so on and so forth for that cell as well. So those are the two main ones in my opinion right now. There is some other rotation pockets as well, but those are the two very, very like eye-catching ones, to put it more specifically. I do want to give a quick shout out to our folks in Eastern Kentucky. Now, this is technically a sponsor. I'm not going to hide that. But this is also just flat out a great company. Greyhawk Roofing out there in Eastern Kentucky for the Lexington area and the surrounding areas. They will provide emergency tarping for free in hopes that you stay with them. They also work great with insurance companies out there, and they just give out great quality. So make sure you check in if you have any damages today to your roofs at all out there for the Lexington area or surrounding counties. Make sure you search up Greyhawk Roofing on Google or give them a call. They also have a Facebook page as well. So Greyhawk Roofing is a great spot out there for you guys to be able to trust. Tornado warning has been expanded. Or extended, I should say. Let's go ahead and read this bulletin here as well for you. Tornado warning for northeastern Powell, southeastern Montgomery, southwestern Morgan, south central Bath, Menifee County, and Wolfe County in eastern Kentucky. At 9:53 a.m., a thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado was located over Means, or 7 miles west of Frenchburg, moving southeast at 50 miles per hour. This dangerous storm will be near Frenchburg around 10 a.m., whatever in the world that is, Pomeranian, I don't even know, at 10:05 a.m. and Gosneyville at around 10:10 a.m. Eastern time for those locations out there. So National Weather Service is going ahead and extending these, and I would agree with that because while it's not significant, there's definitely some pockets of rotation right here. There's definitely a pocket of rotation right there. So extending that is probably the best bet there. I still maintain that this is probably the most significant spot throughout the line between Salt Lake going to Lakeview Heights and Moorhead. I think that's definitely the most significant spot within the line so far. However, there are several notches still showing up. There's actually a notch beginning to show up here just to the west of Olive Hill. That spot is starting to rotate as well. So several pockets of rotation here could all be producing tornadic activity throughout this entire squall line here. Even outside of that, 60 to 70 mile per hour winds are possible. So at the least, all a damaging line here, basically from Portsmouth all the way down toward Irvine, Kentucky, and perhaps even include Richmond and Berea as well. Throughout elsewhere in Kentucky, not a whole lot going on at this time. So we're going to mainly focus on this portion out here to the east. Lori, thanks for the update there. Brady Bowling Green is under a threat for severe weather all the way until around dinner time. Ashley, thank you for your stars and that message. I appreciate that. By the way, I know there's a lot of people that have sent stars and stuff today. I want to say real quickly, thank you so much for that. I'm sorry I didn't thank you at the time. Obviously, a pretty serious condition unfolding here. So I just want to say real quickly, thank you to everyone that has sent stars to the WNK page today on Facebook. Also, thank you to everyone that has been sharing the videos, liking the videos on YouTube and Facebook. Thank you so much for that. Don't forget, while you're here, while we have a second, hit that subscribe button or hit that follow button on YouTube or Facebook. And also make sure you turn on notifications so that you know when we go live here in the near future. I want to make sure that you guys have multiple ways to receive information, whether it's from us or anyone else. I want to make sure you guys have multiple ways to receive information today. Kristen, thank you for your 50 stars. I appreciate that. I'm not going to tell anyone that they're all clear today, by the way. For people asking if they go to sleep or if they're all clear, if they have gaps, no one, in my opinion, is all clear because storms can spawn at any minute. So we're just kind of trucking through it today. Chris, for the most part, I haven't noticed any issues. Yes, Christina, throughout the afternoon, you'll notice more storm activity for Bowling Green. Yeah, the sun is starting to really poke out in places, which is concerning because if you're aware, the sun coming out just introduces more heat. So we still have some pockets of rotation. It looks like they're getting a little bit less significant, which is great news. But we still have some notches right there, some notches through here, although that looks less significant now. A notch out here. So we still have about 4 pockets of rotation throughout these 2 tornado warnings that are active right now throughout eastern Kentucky. Moorhead, if you are in Moorhead at Moorhead State University, make sure that you're in your safe spot at this time. Don't be one of those Billy Bobs that try to take pictures of and videos of the tornado. Be safe and stay inside out there. Out here for the southern storm, if you're in Frenchburg, Fagan, or Stanton, or Sudeth, make sure you're in your safe spot at this time, as well as you're next up immediately there in those places. Alex, I can't give you a direct time frame. I would just say expect strong weather through around 7 p.m. Eastern time. I'm going to take a real quick look at some of the current conditions that we have going on real quickly. If I can pull this up here. So we have the sun still poking through dramatically in north central Kentucky. Some breaks in the clouds for northwestern and western central Kentucky. A dramatic sun break out here for the west. Out here, where's that noise? Oh, this is the dishwasher. I'm on guard today. Dew points are still relatively high in the low 60s in most places. Mid 60s out here for southern Kentucky. In those locations there. We still have the National Weather Service's SPC outlook up, a level 4 out of 5 risk for north central and northeastern Kentucky. I think at their next update, they might pull this south to include more of Kentucky, by the way. Level 3 out of 5 risk exists for pretty much everywhere else. A level 2 out of 5 risk for Paducah and far portions of western Kentucky. So still the entire state under the gun until about 7 p.m. Eastern time when things start to go down a little bit more. I will tell you that this model has been showing a lot more rain shower activity throughout the afternoon, which is great news if that is the case, because that will help. It won't take it all away. Trust me, there's way too much moisture at each layer of the atmosphere. So it won't take it all away, but it will help to try and limit the severe abilities for the late afternoon round. So what we're rooting for is full-on rain showers at this point, guys. What we're rooting on is just full-on rain showers at this point. I still seeing a few notches within this line. This one's actually starting to get a little bit concerning out here. You see the way that this one is starting to curl up a little bit, almost into a ball. That one is starting to get a little bit concerning out there. Over here toward Lakeview Heights as well, we do have a nice pickup right there between Lakeview and Moorhead for those locations out there in eastern Kentucky. Kristen, thank you for your 500 stars. I appreciate that so much. 33% done with the star party. Thank you guys a lot for contributing to that. Shelly, in my opinion, it would be just because that your idea is you want to be on the absolute lowest point, no matter where you are. So to me, a crawl space would be fine, as long as you just have something to cover your head and make sure you have a way to escape in case anything goes to the worst case scenario and things start to crumble on you. But just make sure you have enough space in that crawl space to get out. If it's too tight, I wouldn't do it. I would just stay on your main floor and get as low as you can and put something over your head. Hail damage in Bowling Green. Thank you for the update there. I appreciate that. I'm going to take a real quick peek around the radar here. Seeing some rain shower activity down there towards south central Kentucky. Nothing severe there yet. Looking over toward western Kentucky, we're starting to see some more shower activity over there. So what we're hoping for is that this really grows. If it stays isolated like this, that's a problem. But if it starts to grow and it starts to come into this real big rain showers, that's great news. That is great news. So what we're hoping for is that continues to trend toward us a lot of rain. Now, we'll still get severe weather, right? And we'll still probably get a couple tornadoes from it, right? But it will limit the volatility of those storms. The absolute ceiling of the storms will become lower. So that's what we're rooting for a bit of a safer pattern. Yeah, so we're still kind of keeping an eye on this one toward Frenchburg. Frenchburg, I'm pretty confident this is probably a tornado on the ground there. Let's look out here toward Lakeview Heights. We're still seeing a couple notches up here, just north of Moorhead, and then just south of Moorhead. Then we have another notch right there, and we have this notch right here. So still looking at 4 potential rotation pockets that have all been going for over about 20 minutes now. So we're still in a pretty tight pattern here out here in eastern Kentucky. Bobby, I think everyone's at play for all hazards today, no matter where you are in Kentucky. Timing for West Kentucky is through around 4 to 5 p.m. Eastern time. Is that Indiana, Michael? Oh my goodness, my nose is itching. The National Weather Service Storm Prediction Center are probably going to issue another tornado watch for eastern Kentucky, for far eastern Kentucky. So for those of you that are asking about far eastern Kentucky, you're probably going to get added to the tornado watch very soon. That's what they just said on their mesoscale discussion there. Just kind of going through their discussions, making sure that we're not missing anything. Another severe thunderstorm watch or tornado watch might come again for western Kentucky, by the way. They're continuing to monitor western Kentucky as well. Just kind of getting caught up here. Just kind of getting caught up on the mesoscale discussions. Okay. Any CC drops? There was the only CC drop that I've seen. So we can take a look at this one. We got a few scattered through there. Nothing really eye-catching. It looks like it's more scattered than anything, so nothing really eye-catching there. But I will tell you that back when back when that squall line was back in Hardin County, there was a very apparent CC drop right around here, and then up through here. So this area, so let me actually redo that. there was a pretty apparent CC drop right through here, and it traveled southeast, and then it turned to the right, and then it came back. So that's how that tracked through earlier. Now, we'll see if that means anything. Usually, when you see a CC drop and the cell turns right, there's almost always a tornado that was included in that. So if there was a tornado with this line over here, it was likely somewhere between Vine Grove, Ratcliffe, and northern portions of Hardin County before it eventually waned off to the right here. So that's kind of how that went earlier today for whoever was asking about that. Still just seeing several notches through this line. We got the one here now. We got one here. And then this one looks like it's kind of dying down now, which is good. So I'm not going to cover that one. So still seeing at least 2 notches within this line where tornadic activity could exist. And that's probably the right thing to do. They've extended the tornado warning out here for eastern Kentucky, and now includes Sandy Hook, Paintsville, and Van Leer. Let's go ahead and read this bulletin off to you. Tornado warning for Central Morgan, Southeastern Bath, Johnson County, Northeastern Menifee, North Central McGoffin, Southeastern Rowan, and Elliott County in East Central Kentucky. At 10:05 a.m., a severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado was located over Craney, or 9 miles southeast of Moorhead, moving southeast at 100 miles per hour. What did that just say? There's no way that's right. Did that really say 100 miles per hour? I have never seen a storm move that fast. That's got to be a typo. There's no way, right? There's no way. I'm measuring 62 miles per hour over here. That's in that, well, 70 miles per hour, and that sounds more right. Even that's extremely fast. That had to have been a typo. There's no way, right? Matthew, thank you for that report there. Stay safe, my friend. Yeah, I don't. Now, don't get me wrong. There might be strong wind gusts through there, but this is talking about the storm movement. So it's talking about. It's not talking about the wind gust. It's talking about the storm movement. So they're trying to say that the storm movement is 100 miles per hour, basically like your car driving 100 miles per hour. I can't say I've ever seen that before, and the radar is only measuring 70 mile per hour movement speed. Maybe they mean wind gust, perhaps. Which even at that point, I don't think we're talking about 100 mile per hour wind gust out there. I mean, we can measure it real quickly. So let's measure. 61, 67, 53, 55. Yeah, I that had to have just been a typo, right? That had to have just been a typo. Either way, tornado warning extends. Paintsville, West Liberty, now you're under the gun. You need to prepare your safe spots at this time. And then, of course, I hear more for Campton, Sandy Hook as well. Make sure you're preparing your safe spots and getting to them. Jesse, just expect a severe threat all the way until later this afternoon, going into the evening hours. I know it's a very broad outlook, but that's just generally the truth. Storms can spawn at any time, so we're basically just telling everyone to prepare for storms all the way until about 7 to 8 p.m. Eastern time. Sierra, that's just I can't say that for certain. You know, it should be, but again, storms can spawn at any time, so we're just kind of keeping a level of alert out there for everyone. All right, guys, I'm going to run to the bathroom real quick. If you would, just give me just a moment. I'm going to leave the radar and stuff up. The stream's still going to go, but I just need to go to the bathroom. I've had a lot of coffee. Gotta, you know what? Yeah. Got to use a little weatherman's room. All right, we're back on here with you now. Sorry about that. Samantha with the 500 stars says, no need to respond. Appreciate what you do and hope this helps from Radcliffe. Thank you so much, Samantha. I appreciate that. Thank you to everyone else that's also sent stars today as well. I know I haven't thanked everyone like I usually do, but of course, it's just been a busy day. So my current analysis of where we're at. So we know we have these tornadoes over here, or tornado warnings, I should say, for eastern Kentucky. And let's take a look at that real quick. Actually, 1 second, guys. Okay, that's not what I thought it was. Okay, we're good. Still just those several pockets of notches through there. My current analysis of where we're at. So let's go ahead and keep it zoomed in here. I'll talk to you while we're kind of zoomed in here. So for a lot of you asking about where we're at, how things have been impacted, here's where we are, okay? So what has gone on this morning? Well, we had an MCS develop, a mesocyclone squall line, okay? Or mesoconvective system, I should say. Whatever you want to call it, same thing. That developed, and models hinted at it, but they weren't showing it on reflectivity. So technically, this is here, but models didn't show it. So how does that impact things? One scenario is that it cuts off the best moisture and keeps the best severe probabilities in southern Kentucky and Tennessee. Another scenario that we're seeing develop right now is that this was supposed to come at 10, 11 a.m. for central Kentucky. Where are we at right now for 10 or 11 a.m.? It's all the way over here in eastern Kentucky. So that tells us one thing. That convection did occur. However, it occurred a lot faster than what the model data showed. So now what we go to look at is to see how our skies are responding, okay? See how our skies are responding. And it's not good, okay? What we're seeing is clouds continuing to break up in central and north central Kentucky. It's full-on sunshine from Louisville over toward Frankfort. It's mostly sunshine between, let's say, Grayson County and then out there for folks out there in west central Kentucky, right? So that's what we're seeing right there. So what we're seeing is a response of the dew points going back up. So, trying to think of how to put this. Historically, what would happen if we saw multiple rounds of storms? That first round would typically tank the amount of energy that's available. What we're seeing occur is this line came through, temporarily tanked the energy, but now that the sun is coming back out, and now that we're actually getting the jet stream to actually come over more closer to Kentucky, what is occurring is that environment is destabilizing faster than the model data showed. So one of two things is happening. Either the entire system itself is moving faster, or the entire system is being underdone by the models for portions of Kentucky. All right. So what all that bumbo jumbo means is that we're still right on forecast. Now, the timing has changed a little bit. I still think the timing is through 7 to 8 p.m. Eastern time. But everything seems to be moving a little bit faster, progressively faster throughout this event. So that's kind of where we're at right now with things. For those of you that are wondering, that's kind of where we're at right now with things. I do think that we're still under a big threat for severe weather today. We've already seen, I have to go back and look, but I know we're at least 15, perhaps 20 tornado warnings already through 10 a.m. And I know that we have a second line that's beginning to form out here for western Kentucky. If I go out here and I click on the radar out here for western Kentucky, what in the world? Oh, wait, what is this? Carports blown off a building, other roof damage, trees and power lines down in the Heath and Woodville area. And that was at 6 o'clock this morning. Okay. So what we're seeing already is this line is beginning to develop out here. Now, what is occurring down here in Tennessee is imperative, because what it's doing is creating a full-on rain shower or thunder shower event for Tennessee. So basically, what we're going to see right now is probably what we're going to end up with when it comes up with energy for the day, because that down there in Tennessee is probably going to block energy from getting up here any further. So let's go ahead and take a real quick look here. Actually, first though, I want to just mention, if you are just now tuning in to us here at WNK, we do have multiple tornado warnings ongoing for southeastern Kentucky, or I'm sorry, for eastern Kentucky. Next up under the gun is West Liberty, Hazel Green, Trent, Campton, Elk Fork, Sandy Hook, and Edsall, Kentucky. You're next up under the gun. Make sure you're in your safe spots at this time. It'll be there within any moment. But what we're looking at here, and I just want to take a real quick peek at Cape and values there. Not really seeing a whole lot there just yet. Not really seeing a whole lot right there just yet, but models are indicating that it's going to jump real quickly. So we'll see how that trends over the next hour or so. But we're going to keep an eye on that for you guys as well. I'm going to pull this radar real quick and kind of go through that. Let me go ahead and take a look at the mesoscale discussions and make sure we're not missing anything. All right, we haven't missed anything. We're good there. No, Dino, I just think it means that the forecast is on par so far. So the second round was always going to be the worst of the two. But I think it just means that the forecast is on par so far. Lisa, thank you for the update there. One thing I want to take a quick look at real quickly is the dew points as well. So observations, RTMA analysis, and dew point. Okay. I think you found your bullseye for this afternoon. And it's probably going to be right here along the parkways in south central Kentucky. The reason I'm saying that is because look at the dew points that are still there. Despite the amount of storm activity that has occurred today, the dew points are still in the mid-60s in south central Kentucky, going up toward Lexington. So what we watch for now is to see if there's any movement of this main dew point pool. If it moves, right, then the bullseye shifts. But right now, the bullseye looks to be anywhere between Bowling Green and Elizabethtown for later on this afternoon for the most significant severe weather. So that's kind of where we're at right now in terms of that. Let's go ahead and put this back onto the satellite here. Let's keep an eye on these clouds as they roll through. And the HRRR model does agree as well, by the way. So we look right here, real quickly, just once more. I don't want to make sure. I'm going to make sure we don't forget here. Tornado warnings are active, and the next up under the gun are Elk Fork, Jephthah, Edsall, Edna, Will Rim, Hazel Green, Trent, and Campton. You are the next up under the gun. Let's go take a look at the rotations here as well, see if there's anything. Okay, so some of the rotation has stopped. There's really only one significant pocket, and that's right here, just to the southeast, or just to the south of Sandy Hook, I should say. So that's probably the best pocket of rotation right here, going more toward the Paintsville area. So that's where we're at with the tornado warnings right now. This is the HRRR model for the rest of the day so far. And you can see 11 a.m. shows a few rain showers and thunderstorms going on there. And then we'll have some pockets of, we'll have this strong line of storms near 4 to 6 p.m. Eastern time. Now, this line looks to be pretty significant in the way of it's trying to make a long supercell rotation track just along the parkways and just south. So, again, the HRRR model does agree with our current analysis as well. That looks to be the most significant spot at this time. I want to see how it tries to recover dew points here. So it does shift dew points back up to the north quite a bit. I'm not sure if that's completely accurate either, though. Okay. Just want to take a real quick look at that. Okay, we're good now. Pull up the radar. All right. Matthew, of course, my friend. The storm is forming in Glasgow. Looks like just rain showers at this point, my friend. Again, guys, all that analysis I just shared with you over the last 5 minutes includes everyone in Kentucky. Not. So if you're asking about specific locations, just know everyone in Kentucky is still at play for all hazards of severe weather throughout the afternoon until about 7 p.m. Eastern time. So if you're asking about what about Bowling Green, what about this place, what about Elizabethtown, what about this place, just know all locations in Kentucky are at play for all modes of severe weather until 7 p.m. Eastern time. So there's no need to go into specific locations because that general analysis goes for entire state of Kentucky. Crystal, thank you for the 99 stars. I appreciate that. Of course, Deb, thank you for that on YouTube. I appreciate you. John, I think the health threat is probably the lowest of the three. Now, the health threat is still large as well, but I would say the health threat is probably the lowest of the three. The greatest of the threats are absolutely tornadic activity. Take a look back here at the velocity measurements again. Okay, so it's looking more and more like this is turning into a straight line wind damage event. So they might drop the tornado warning or just keep it up until it expires. But I'm not really seeing any significant pockets of rotation at this time. What I'm seeing is more of just a straight, literally just a straight wall of winds. Remember earlier we saw those little hooks or those little notches, I should say, within the line. Now we're just pretty much seeing a straight wall, which is still not any good because you're still talking about 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts, which can cause damages, but at least it isn't rotating. Marilyn, I'm sorry to hear that, but thank you for the update. Yeah, so if you're in Eastern Kentucky, you have it's really on the way there right now, probably within the next hour or so. For those of you that are asking about, I believe Lawrence or somewhere in Eastern Kentucky, out there in the next hour or so. Yeah, a new tornado, or the far eastern Kentucky portions of the area has now been included in the tornado watch as well. So current tornado watch. Now, again, we expect there to be multiple tornado watches and severe thunderstorm watches throughout the day. For this tornado watch, currently goes out from Louisa to Portsmouth to Grayson, not Grayson County, but Grayson City, to Paintsville to West Liberty to Moorhead to Stanton to Richmond and Berea. I expect more of these counties back out here to the west to continue to fall off. Now, remember, this started all the way out here in western Kentucky. That's going to be the case today. You're going to see like a domino effect each time. The watch will start out to the west, then that will go to the central Kentucky area, and then it will drop west, and then it'll go to eastern Kentucky area, and then it'll drop central, and then so on and so forth. You're probably going to see that quite a few times throughout today. So just keep that in mind when you're looking at tornado watches, and make sure you're paying attention to the timing, and always keep checking back to see if it's still active. Amanda, I just wouldn't say that because there could be pop-up storms at any time given the type of environment that we're in. Stacey, I think everyone has a chance to go into a watch at some point today. I know I'm giving very general answers, and they sound like they're just kind of like blabbermouth, but I just want to show you once again that even for the tornado outlook today, it includes everywhere in the significant tornado outlook except for 10 counties in Kentucky. So that means 110 counties in Kentucky of the 120 counties in Kentucky are under an outlook for a greater than 10% probability of a significant tornado. So, and while these answers sound very general and broad, and you're thinking, well, he's just not giving me answers from my specific location. That's not the case. That's because almost everywhere in Kentucky has the same answer, because almost everywhere in Kentucky is under the same threat, except for those 10 counties. And even those 10 counties right now, 5 of them now in eastern Kentucky is currently under a tornado watch. So everywhere in Kentucky, genuinely, guys, today, everywhere is under a threat for all hazards through 6 to 7 p.m. Eastern time. So that's why I've been giving very general answers, because the outlook is very general, because the entire state has nearly the same outlook. It's a pretty rare event. Usually we're only focused on one part of the state. But the entire state, genuinely, guys, is under a threat for all hazards until 7 p.m. Eastern time. And those storms can spawn at any point within now and 7 p.m. Eastern time. So that's why we haven't given you very specific timings on different rounds or waves, because those storms can spawn at any point. So I just want to put that out there and make sure you guys are well aware that today it's genuinely all of Kentucky. Oh, and by the way, there's a Twitter if you want to follow it, at WeatherNowKY over there. Cherie is running that beautifully for us over there, over on the on X or Twitter, whatever you call it. It's always going to be Twitter for me. But at WeatherNowKY over there, she's giving out multiple updates as we're going through the day as well. The southern tornado warnings have been allowed to expire. The northern tornado warning is still going. I would agree with that. Now, they could probably allow that one to cancel as well. But they're probably just going to let it ride out. Remember, it kind of looks like just a straight wall of winds now. I don't see any real big pockets of rotation. But they're probably just going to let it ride out until it expires, which is in 1 minute. We'll see if they expand it. And they did not. So all tornado warnings for the first time in an hour have been canceled or expired. Everyone with me here. I want everyone to calm down. There's a lot of anxiety going around today, and I absolutely understand why. Because throughout the last few years in Kentucky, it seems like we've had a few more significant tornadoes than usual. And while I think today can be significant in its own, just know that we'll be here with you throughout every step of the storm system today. Truly, throughout every step of the storm system today, we'll be here with you. Okay? What I'm going to do now, since there are no active tornado warnings, I'm going to try and go take some allergy medicine because my nose will not stop bitching. And I'm going to try to go squeeze in a real quick snack because I've not eaten since like last night for dinner. And I've been up I only got 2 hours of sleep. So I really, you guys see how big I am. I think I need a little bit of food. Change that shirt. Mark, I can't, my friend. Oh my goodness. You would think with the rain today, my allergies wouldn't be so bad, but my goodness. Oh, I was about to sneeze. So real quick summary, before we take a break. Just want to show you real quickly the radar one more time. So Paintsville, Louisa, West Liberty, Prestonsburg, and places out here like Jackson, you can expect strong wind gusts of up to 60 miles per hour throughout the next hour or so, okay? I will tell you the tornado threat is starting to diminish a bit because you're running out of the main pockets of energy. But just keep in mind that straight line wind damages can also occur as well. So keep that in mind as well out there. For central Kentucky, you're seeing some rain shower activity start down there in Bowling Green areas. It's staying pretty calm at the moment, but they might get stronger here soon. For western Kentucky, we're seeing full-on thunder showers out there. Why does that keep happening? We're seeing full-on thunder showers out there, which may limit your severe abilities later on today. So Murray and stuff, you might actually get dropped from an outlook because of how much rain is occurring out there. Now, what we're going to watch for behind the scenes here while we're gone is we're going to watch and see where these rain showers down in western Tennessee, see where they track, and see how they impact the dew points and the moisture and the energy that's available for later on today. And we'll make sure we post or go live with any updates or changes for you guys. Make sure you guys subscribe over on YouTube, turn on that bell so you get notifications for when we go live. On Facebook, hit that follow button, turn on notifications so you can know when we go live as well. I'm going to take a look at some things. I'm going to try to eat a little something real quickly, take some allergy medicine, and I'll be back here with you guys here very shortly. Until next time, stay safe and relax, guys. We got your back.